My name is Dorothy Brooks. When I started school, and now I'm married, and I'm Dorothy Brooks Brown. And I started school in 1931. And the school that I went to was Union Bridge Elementary School on the grounds of a Union Bridge Far Company. That's where I went to school, and my teacher was Mrs. Stanley.
Okay, well, let's get to Ernest. Ms. Moody.
I didn't complete the first time you asked me. I was born in Linwood, Maryland, and my mother done domestic work, and my father was a construction worker. And my first school was in Union Bridge, on the grounds where the Far Company is now.
And later on?
And later on, on the school, out on where it is now, Phillips Lane in Union Bridge. And when I was started school, I lived close enough to go to Emma Wolf School. Everyone I think knows where Perry Jones' garage is. I live right across the street from there. And you know that's very not far from Emma Wolf School. But I had to get on the bus and ride to school.
When did you come to Moton? When did you come to Moton?
Oh, can't remember the year, but I know I graduated in 1945.
Okay.
And I rode the school bus.
You rode the school bus from Union Bridge to
Right,
here.
right. Couldn't go to the movies, couldn't go anywhere. We were segregated. We sit upstairs, other race sit downstairs. And I can remember when I went to Robert Moton, Mr. Harold Davis drove a school bus, and he also drove for one of the schools here in Westminster. So we had to be the ones to get on the bus early. So he'd make his runs to the other school. And in the evenings, he didn't pick us up to last. The other school would be picked up first, and then he would pick us up last.
So when you say
So when we
school,
got home, it was late in the evenings.
So when you say other schools, this was the only black school in Westminster, so you're
The white school. He drove for the white and the black race. He came early in the morning so he could get us to school, and then he'd pick the other race of children up to one of the schools in Westminster. I don't remember which one. But we would be late getting home in the evening. We'd be the last ones. So that was difficult times. Now I remember when I went to old Robert Moton, you know, the heat registers be upside the wall. And I don't know why I ever done this, but I would stand beside the register thinking I was going to get some heat from the register. And that was just a thought. There wasn't no heat coming at that register. You understand what I'm saying? And so I got proper to the point and I said, you know, I just thought you're going to get heat. I wasn't getting any heat. So those difficult times, you know what I mean? And all these ladies knew about, went to Robert Moton. They had inside bathrooms. I didn't have an inside bathroom. I had to go outside. And you do know how difficult that is? Very difficult. I shall never forget it. Just like when you're stepping over a puddle of water, that's where I had to step over the waste that was coming out of the toilet, outside toilets. How often they would come to clean it up? Not too often. I couldn't go in the bathroom, flush the commode. I couldn't do that. That's difficult times. And then, you know, at certain times, everyone's growing up here. Certain times in the month, ladies would have to go to the bathroom. I couldn't do that. First thing that I would do when I got home was go right to the bathroom, now to get a sandwich or something to eat, because it was a difficult time for me. Certain times of the month, the ladies know what I'm talking about. That's difficult. And something you really, you know it's all over with, but you don't forget.
Yeah.
I have never forgotten it. But I had wonderful, beautiful times at Robert Moton, even during the all difficulty times. Beautiful teachers. I learned so much. Learned so much. You know, that's where I got a lot of my, not only for teaching class, but they were family-oriented people. You know, they just were lovely people. I shall never forget them. But it was also difficult times. I didn't have a cafeteria like these students had. I didn't have a cafeteria.
Okay.
We girls had to make our own sandwiches. So when another class came down to eat, we had to make sandwiches and we had to do all these things. To me, I think it's still a problem. That's the way I look at it.
In what way?
Confusion in the schools. They still don't want everyone to be equal. And to me, that bothers me. Because there's no difference. And I mean, to me, how when I went to school and to now, and it hasn't never changed, how many years has that been? And we're still seeing, it's just, you know, it bothers you a lot. It bothers me a lot. When I pick up the Frederick paper and I read how it's going on in schools in Frederick County, you know, that shouldn't be. And I want to say, like when I worked here in Westminster, and I wanted to stay, when the times got busy at work, I'd stay overnight and work, and not overnight, and work at night. I couldn't find anywhere, and our boss man could not find any place here in Westminster to get something to eat. So, you know, right here on Main Street, I can't recall right now, but you know where they sell the seafood now? I can't recall the name right now. Benny's Kitchen. And we only worked up the street. Mr. Eckenrode went and asked him, could we service some food? We had to work over at night. We could not eat in the kitchen. They had to eat well, I can give them food, but they had to eat in the kitchen. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Beans, you had
No days, snow days. Every day you had to go to school. You didn't make it, you didn't make it. Now I can remember, I will say this, Mr. Harry Davis had a school bus. Of course, I don't think he was supposed to do this, but he had one of these old oil heaters, and he stood right up in front where he was. And we got a little heat. It might have been against the, you know, rules and regulations, but
Right.
that's what happened, and we did get a little heat.
Yes.
But we never had no problems with it, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was talking about, I didn't finish because Yvonne's mother and I, when we could eat in that restaurant, her mother was with me and my aunt when that happened. We worked at the Newman Bookstore in Westminster. And another time, it was during my summer months when I went to school. And a lot of people here, I remember Dr. Legge, he was the doctor at Union Bridge. And they said they needed someone, you know, to come fix their lunch, you know. And I said, oh boy, this is summertime, I get myself a little job, you know. And I went, and Mrs. Legge came to me and she said, well, you can fix lunch, but you can't eat with us. So that was really heartening, you know. It really made me feel bad because I really wanted that little job. And so I knew I better not say anything about it because my parents' family would get on me for that. So I said, well, all right, I've done just whatever I was supposed to do. So but I'm not going to let them know I'm not coming back. So I left, no problem. I never said anything. Then the next day, I never returned. You know, there was no confusion, and I say nothing bad or anything, or I just left without saying anything. And then another time, I want to let you know this. When my husband and I bought our home, was buying her home, Oh, this was 1963. Hawks Hill Road, New Windsor, Maryland. They had a petition against us because we were black. They didn't know whether it was going to be nice or going to be nice neighbors or what. They just knew we were going to be black. They didn't want us to be there. And the only reason that we knew how that had happened, there were some of these ladies, Virginia and Yvonne, their husbands worked at the Lehigh Cement plant in Union Bridge. And the only way we knew that they had a petition against us was these gentlemen told us. They didn't want us to come there because we were black. That's hard. And where you get your building permits, they said they never had anything like that at that time, ever to happen like that. People said they were just coming and telephoning and doing all kinds of things, you know. So when I told my neighbor, which is Teresa, about it, and these, I can't think of the people's name now, they're on the hill, they had a nursing home, and she went down to help them, and she was telling Teresa, she said, "We're so sorry for what we've done, and we shall never do that anymore." Then I had another neighbor telling me, we said, "If you build here, we're going to burn your house down." Then my aunt, which is passed and gone, and my husband was very ill at that time, and she said, none of us are going to let them know. They burn across it. They're right down the corner of the road where we're building our home. If we moved there, they would burn our house down. And they did burn across down the road across. And I never knew it till my aunt told me.
Well, that sounds to me.
I had just one more.
Yes, ma'am.
When I went to Elmer Wolf School, teacher's aide, I was a teacher aide there for 5 years. And this is right in the 70s. I had a very hard time with, children didn't want to work with me because of my color. I had one little boy. So my parents didn't want to work with no nigger. Very hard, And I had children didn't want to work with me because of the color of my skin. And they had to call the parents in many times so we could try to get it ironed out, you know what I mean? And that was very hard, and this was in the 70s.
So did the parents side with the children, or they?
Well, I had one child I was telling you about. He couldn't even tie his shoestrings. But I thought to myself, well, you can't even tie your shoestring, and your parents is telling about a color of my skin. He didn't know how to tie his shoestring, so that's heartening. And I had taken him out in a special room to try to help him with his reading. It's just a different cut. To even go back over and talk about it, it's kind of hurting.